Alright, so a bit of a short but sweet video here today because I am just going to introduce you to my newest rank 3, who is, of course, one of the coolest characters in the game, literally Iceman. Now, if you've been watching my streams in February, you know just how much this character means to me. I genuinely love Iceman. He is so good. He is so much fun to play. He is just like a really reliable character. And I learned that the best way possible because when I did my romance only account challenge, which still is going on to be fair, but like while I've been doing that, my first 7-star champion was Iceman on the account. And I thought to myself, am I really gonna use him that much? Because I was always thinking like his damage output wouldn't be enough for like Act 8 at like rank 1 for example. But then I was just completely wrong. This guy has been by far the MVP of that account, and at rank 1, he just brings so much to the table. First things first, his damage output is fine. Second, his utility is just so powerful to the point where like you have to have him on the team. Even if his damage output isn't like, you know, like at the top, his utility most definitely is. And one thing that I've noticed about like story content especially is the nodes just want you to have the utility. The nodes usually cover the damage output for you. For example, right here, this is Foresight, so like the damage output is covered by that, and like Iceman is a champion that is supercharged by Foresight. Some characters don't benefit as much, but Iceman most definitely benefits because as you can see, this fight time is going to be like 30 something seconds. So yeah, here I dropped the SP2, 123,000 crit, massive detonation right there, and yeah, that was like what, a 38 seconds I think. Absolutely unreal, right? So when it comes to like utility, he has a lot to offer, right? He has, I think, 5 immunities. Hold on, let me think. Yeah, Bleed, Poison, Incinerate, Cold Snap, Frostbite, and then Nova Flame. So actually 6. And yeah, they all come in handy, especially in like story content and in like battlegrounds too. Like let's say that there is a hazard shift meta. Don't want that to ever happen, but that could happen eventually, right? I think it has happened already, but he was probably one of the better options for it since he just has access to those immunities. Doesn't have to play around one phase, he's just immune to both, and as I was talking, he just absolutely floored that Caltrops fight. And so yeah, that's just another example of him being really good versus DOT lanes, because he was of course immune to the Caltrops. Now we have this Stark Spidey on Safeguard, and this showcases a bit of everything, a bit of his evade counter with the SP1. Here I believe I do get evaded to start the fight, and that does show you that like if your Iceman is unawakened, you might have to like play around the evade for a little bit, but once you drop that first SP1, you just have complete control of the fight. So yeah, it's very nice how potent and how frequent his Cold Snap application is, because yeah, like on every SP1 you just get it for a pretty good duration, and it's very easy to maintain. And if he is awakened at the start of the fight, you inflict a Cold Snap for like a pretty good amount of time as well, which makes him like a immediate evade counter. So that's why I feel like Iceman Awakened is just a whole lot better, because also whenever he crits, he is guaranteed to inflict a Frostbite while a Cold Snap is active. So yeah, like the damage output increase is honestly insane. That does also show you that like Iceman, without his Awakened ability, which is a massive damage increase, he still does very well. His fight time is still very solid for a utility character. But like I was saying, it does bring a lot to the table, and at like max sig, he becomes not only just a evade counter, he becomes a defender as well, because if you have a rank 3 close to max sig Iceman, you will just take off so much health from like the opponent on Battlegrounds defense, and you will pretty much win a ton of rounds that way. And like that's been a pretty good strategy for a long time, the Iceman trap, and right there he is just like absolutely crushing these fights. I'm so taken aback, dude. But yeah, like I was saying, he really just has it all. He's good for story questing, can be good for alliance war for sure. I think like even with the hazard shift changes, he still is pretty good for some of the lanes. He has, you know, good utility for battlegrounds if necessary. He can be a battlegrounds defender if necessary. And yeah, this man's utility is just honestly close to beyond god tier, if not just like straight up beyond god tier. So yeah, here I dropped the SP2, and yeah, we just got like a bug swatter for that wasp, because my gosh, that was foul. But yeah, now we have this Morningstar boss, I'm pretty sure, and this is a great showcase of what changed with the Iceman buff, which honestly is kind of old now. But yeah, this has a frostbite node where like every time the timer expires, we get a frostbite on us. However, Iceman is now immune to frostbite, and I cannot believe that he didn't start out like that he wasn't released with frostbite and cold snap immunity. That is absolutely absurd, man. How was that even allowed? I do not know. I have zero clue how that was allowed. But they righted their wrongs. And they did do wrong though for a long time with Iceman, but now he's just so much better. And like as a 7-star champion with that damage upgrade, with that utility, you know, like staying consistent, with that defensive value going higher, because as the Iceman's rank increases, so does that cold snap damage. Like all those things combined, and this was honestly one of the better 7-star releases to start the year. Like, you know, there was also She-Hulk, there was Gwenpool who came back for 2025. I think Iceman is better than both of those for sure. When I was like doing my romance challenge, I didn't think that. I thought that Iceman was like the worst pool to get from the Love is War key, and I was so wrong. I think he's honestly like the second best, if not just like the best when it comes to utility and just being a good asset for anyone's roster, which is why I feel like if you need a champion that just can do everything pretty much, I think Iceman is definitely worth considering. And yeah, like I'm showing you like earlier story content, like earlier endgame content. Obviously, when I do the proper showcase, it will be like you know, the newer stuff like 9.1, like what else, like, you know, Epoch of Pain. I'll go back into it. I don't want to, but I will for y'all, because, you know, I feel like Iceman could make some noise there as well. So yeah, this is just like a bit of a sneak peek of what he has to offer, and I like what I'm seeing so far. When I did my new account challenge, I loved what I saw there, because he was just so much fun to play. He's just so easy to use as well. Just like drop your SP1, drop your heavy attack if you want, drop your SP2 for that massive close to the fight. And yeah, it's just all very simple, it's all very effective, and he can handle so many things for that reason. Because I feel like ease of use is something that is so underrated for champions, but it's honestly so important still to this day. Because like having a complex rotation or like a complex kit can easily throw people off when like it comes to if they want to use them or not. But with Iceman here, it's pretty much as simple as it gets when it comes to this character. So like that's why I feel like he has a ton to offer for like so many people watching this video, whether you're Valiant or like you're a newly Thronebreaker, right? I think Iceman has something to offer for every single one of y'all watching. So yeah, like for me for example, my new account desperately needed something like Iceman. My main account can have fun, and even like with my new account, or like my main account, sorry, being completely decked out, Iceman still has a use, because literally no one has his immunity set, right? Like no one has the same amount of immunities as Iceman, I'm pretty sure anyway. So like he will be a good asset for this roster, even though my roster on the main account is completely whaled out, unfortunately. But but yeah, that's why I like Iceman so much, dude, because he's just for everyone, and he's cool. He's literally cool. He is literally too cool Iceman, if you will. And yeah, drop BSP2 right there. Fight is just completely done. I got one more for y'all, I'm pretty sure, in 9.1. And yeah, as a surprise to no one, he is still very relevant in the newest act content, and I feel like when 7.2, not when 7.2, when 9.2 comes out, he's gonna be just as relevant, because like I said before, in like especially 9.1 and beyond, if you have the utility, you are set for that lane, because Kabam and like the nodes they create, honestly, they usually cover the damage output aspect. For example, right here, this has power shield, so the damage output is covered. You just really need a mutant to counter like these skill defenders, like for example Squirrel Girl under bleed. That's no issue for Iceman, obviously. The power shield aspect is really fun with Iceman because he can do some pretty nasty damage on his SP2, and when it's multiplied, it is very, very disgusting. Like right there, that was the nastiest detonation pretty much ever out of Iceman. And yeah, that's just a bit absurd, dude. So yeah, Iceman is still very useful, still is like so good, has not lost a step in my opinion, and as a 7-star character is just like rejuvenated 100%. This champion is so much better now as a 7-star character. He now has access to the crit rate stat focus, he now has access to like, you know, challenger rating, which does help his overall DPS, and just like so many other things, dude. It's just so nice to see Iceman just like absolutely crush it in the contest in 2025 when this character is such an old gem these days. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Iceman as a 7-star. Is he rank 3 for you? Are you gonna take him up now that you've seen this video? Let me know, and yeah, that's about it for me.